CARVANA is out here selling stolen cars. I don't know how this bitch managed to make it off the lot.
There are so many issues with buying a car from Carvana. This is not an isolated issue. I see this all the time, and it's not only just buying repossession cars, but having cars that don't have titles, cars that have issues. So I want to talk about this because if you guys don't know, my name's Tommy. I negotiate car deals for a living, and I've talked many times about how you should never buy a car from Carvana and CarMax. And it's always a debate in the comment section. People say, Tommy, we hate dealing with dealerships. We don't want to deal with them. We'd rather spend a little bit more money in order to skip that process. Well, I think there's a better way. Let me just tell you another story about how Carvana does business. So I had a client recently that was looking to sell their car. Now, we were doing this whole deal, but long story short, the car started having some transmission problems, really on and off, and a few things that triggered a check engine light. Long story short, check engine light went away, and after about a month, we decided, hey, the issue hasn't come back. Let's just go sell the car to Carvana. Lo and behold, we put in the process, we say it doesn't have issues, and somebody's going to say, Tommy, you should have told them that it had issues in the past. It's not my job to tell them that once upon a time the check engine went on and now it's off. They run the car through a scanner. They can do whatever they have. That's Carvana's business practice, not mine, to tell them everything that's ever happened to our vehicle. Long story short, we go through, there's no check engine light. As Carvana goes to pick up the car, of course, as everything happens, an issue emerges and that check engine light comes on. Now, Carvana, if I was a business practice, I would put notes on that account. I would do something and say, hey, you know what? This car's going to have issues. We're going to degrade it. They told us they wouldn't buy it. But the Carvana rep told us, hey, if you can just get this check engine light off, we'd buy this car. Just don't use this same approval. Just start a brand new deal. Once you get the one off, come off, and we'll pick up the car and give you the maximum dollar for it. So we do that. We just go, we listen to them. We wait a few days. Guess what? The intermittent problem goes away. We then say, okay, this is our time. We go into Carvana. We actually end up getting a $700 more than our original offer, which is kind of crazy. Carvana comes out, the same guy looks at the vehicle, no code. We didn't do anything. Again, the guy didn't say go get it fixed. He said as long as you can just get the code off. We got the code off. We ended up getting full price for the car. And guess what? Somebody else's problem. Now, I know what somebody's going to be thinking, well, Tommy, what's stopping a dealership from doing this as well? Can't they just do the same thing? And sure, in practice, they could, but it doesn't make any sense for a dealership to do this when they're not doing this burn and churn model. For example, if you brought this car into a dealership and I'm the sales manager appraising your car and it has issues, I'm going to put notes in what we call V-Auto, which is the system where we track all these traits. You then come bring that car in later and I run the VIN, I see it had issues, and guess what? I'm going to be asking for those issues. And if it just magically went away, I'm not going to just give you full dollar for it. I'm going to want to see service receipts to see what you did to fix it. That's nothing, and I thought that was a severe problem. You're either getting a way reduced value or I'm not going to buy the car at all because I don't want to deal with the problem, because dealerships do rely on their reputation. It is extremely important for them to maximize their reputation, because once their reputation goes down the drain, it's hard for them to sell cars. That's why they're always praising to try to get as many Google reviews as possible. And this would be different if Carvana was just an isolated incident, but this has happened over and over. They've been going through lawsuits because they weren't sending titles and not doing registration for people because they weren't getting the titles from their people or from their customers, which is absolutely unacceptable. Carvana's entire business model is burn and churn. It doesn't matter the quality of the car. It doesn't matter if it was repossessed. It doesn't matter if it was stolen. They want to sell you a car and they want to try to make as much profit as quickly as possible. That's an entire business model, and that shouldn't fly. So when you're buying your next new car, or even used car, I don't want you to think of what's the easiest way to do this. I want you to think of what's the smartest way to do this. And yes, that does mean shopping at dealerships. And I have plenty of tips on making the most sense so you don't get scammed at the dealership. So if you guys like that kind of content, like, follow, subscribe. If you guys want more of this content, thanks and have a great day.